the other big announcement or big revelation on Collision was that Tony Schiavone is now going to be doing play by play on that show as well. You once upon a time said that when you started Nitro, you didn't want to necessarily overexpose Tony. Maybe he had been too closely associated with the old regional promotion, and you took that seat for a bit. Of course, we know eventually that became Tony's seat. But they've tried, at least at times, to have, we have a Rampage crew, and we have a Dynamite crew, and we have a Collision crew. Tony Schiavone sort of is all over the place on all of these shows now. I like it. I think Tony is the glue for a lot of those teams, where maybe he's not the guy who's supposed to be driving, but he just sort of holds it all together. And while Tony doesn't like when I say this, I think he's almost like, remember Mike Seaver from the sitcom back in the day? He's like our wrestling TV dad. I really like him in that role. Were you surprised to see that Tony Schiavone is now on the Saturday show as well?
Not surprised, but I'm a little concerned because it's just, look, Tony's one of the best. It's not a question of whether or not he has the ability or the credibility or whether or not he's that TV dad, because I agree with you. He is. He's the voice. Other than Jim Ross, there's nobody out there that is recognizable of a personality than Tony Schiavone when it comes to doing color and play-by-play or play-by-play. But the man's only got so much energy, and spreading him that thin, just from a personal point of view, I don't think is a good idea. Long term, in the short term, it's going to work great. Tony is a pro. Tony's a pro's pro. Tony will do what he has to do to deliver. But no matter how good someone is, it's a little bit like our discussion with Logan Paul. No matter how good somebody is, you want to be careful that you keep them special, that you help them maintain that Mike Seaver of television fame. You need to be aware that you can overexpose great talent who then, after a period of time, don't feel quite as great to the audience, because there's audience fatigue is a real thing. No matter how good somebody is, audience fatigue is a real thing. That's my only concern. It's not whether or not he can do the job or should do the job or anything like that. Let's see where it is 4 months from now, 6 months from now, when the newness of it wears off and Tony has been exposed a lot. And on a personal level, what is it going to do to his energy levels? It's not an easy job. Play-by-play in color if it's done well, is a really difficult job that takes a lot out of you mentally and physically if you're doing it right. Now, if you're just showing up like some people do, and I'm not suggesting Tony is by any stretch. In fact, Tony's the opposite. But unless you're just showing up and just calling it improvising, not really putting the research into it, not putting the time into it, not thinking about what you're trying to get over and how you're going to get it over and when you're going to get it over and how you tie it all together so that it seems like it's a seamless arc that's taking you to the end of the show and building just like everything else should. That's a lot of work. And I'm just a little concerned that Tony's going to get physically and mentally fatigued, and the combination of that and the overexposure is going to create audience fatigue. At some point, those two things meet, and it's not good.